Sin Kiske just got a huge overhaul to every one of his special move follow-ups, an increased focus on his stamina management, and some nerfs to his best neutral buttons. I wanted to get this video out sooner, but I was busy preparing for my first ever offline bracket, which I'm very happy about. I'll talk more about my general feelings on the character and the changes at the end of the video, so for now, let's just jump into the important stuff. First, some housekeeping. Across the board, the defensive attributes of the roster were changed to decrease the average amount of damage you're taking from an opponent's combos, and Sin is no different. In technical terms, his defensive modifier value has decreased and his guts rating was increased, but all you really need to know is that he can take more of a beating now than he could before. /, 2S, and 6P. To get the numbers out of the way, Sin's primary neutral tools were all hit with nerfs. / and 6P were given more recovery, meaning they're going to be a lot riskier to swing around, and 2S got more startup, making it slower to connect. Unfortunately, these are not exactly minor changes, but they're not too devastating. A lot of Sin's gameplay in Season 3 revolved around using / and 2S to get in and then run his pressure from there, but now that these moves have been slowed down or made easier to punish, his neutral becomes a bit riskier. 6P was given extra recovery, but this is more of a system change given to most of the cast to standardize 6P recoveries and stop people from running around spamming half-invincible moves. Stamina management. The changes to Sin's stamina recovery rate and cooldown properties were harsh. Instead of recovering faster when he's low on resource, he now recovers at the same rate no matter how much stamina is currently in the gauge. On top of that slowdown, stamina recovery overall is much slower. These changes are actually massive and definitely can be felt in Sin's moment-to-moment gameplay. Stamina management is now a lot more crucial than it ever has been since he's been made worse without resource from the / and 2S changes, and his gauge takes so long to fill back up. Gazelle step. One of the more interesting changes of the patch, Sin now has the ability to Gazelle step whenever he feels like it by inputting 2 and 4K, or quarter circle back kick. He can still dash out of his specials with the dash macro, so don't worry, his combos didn't all get an extra input thrown in. However, using raw Gazelle step still uses a full bar of stamina, and the move received an increased recovery, making it easier to react to and punish. Because of the increased travel time, he no longer gets to convert off of counter hit Beak driver, which is unfortunate. He did get his hurt box shrunk during the move, but since it's a command dash that puts you directly in your opponent's face, that honestly doesn't matter that much and is only applicable in very niche situations. Since Gazelle step travels pretty far, it honestly doesn't even really open up that many new conventional combo routes, but if you know what you're doing, it does allow for some side switch shenanigans. Now, let's get on to the good stuff. Special move changes, 236H. While Sin's actual special moves didn't receive any changes, all of his follow-up attacks are drastically different than before. To kick off the reworks, let's look at 236H, or Beak driver. Beak driver's follow-up was given increased recovery, but also has a guard crush effect on block, so it will always be safe. On hit, instead of a soft knockdown, it will launch into a state known as a rolling tumble, which can set up for a safe jump to continue pressure, or for a Gazelle step pickup with close slash. In the corner, the rolling tumble state allows for meterless pickups with 2S, / 2K, and even Tyrant Barrel in the right situations, but these are pretty situational. This is huge for Sin's pressure and combo game, since Gazelle step out of a blocked Beak follow-up can now frame trap throws, but it is very expensive in terms of stamina. 236K. 236K received a similar rework. Previously, this was Sin's only move that caused Guard Crush, and it still does fulfill that purpose. The duration of the follow-up's Guard Crush property was extended, which is nice, but it already frame trap throws, so it's just more advantage. It received a reduction to its knockback, opening up new mid-screen combo routes, but these all still require Gazelle step and thus 2 bars to access. This knockback reduction also translates into Sin moving back less in the corner after hitting the move, making the same combos open in the corner without the use of Gazelle. There are now different routes available for counter hit and normal hit elk hunt. Going 4S. Hoof Stomp received the same Guard Crush property as Beak Driver and Elk Hunt, but due to its new lengthy recovery, its combos are a lot tighter than the other two. The move now ground bounces, meaning that it can be followed up mid-screen with a Gazelle step for a combo. Unfortunately, the increase in recovery on Gazelle Step means that Hoof Stomp is no longer our mid-screen BNB combo extender, but that role was filled in by the new Hawkbaker follow-up. It does, however, let you pick up with the 2K. 623S. Sin's DP follow-up got a very interesting change with the new harsh vertical knockback angle that allows for combos after it lands if it is not the first move in the combo. The follow-up also moves him forward during the animation more, so we can continue combos out of DP without Gazelle in most situations. I've seen a bit of Kara DP tech floating around in the first few days now that it's a reliable combo option, but there's still a lot going into figuring that out. Unfortunately, while 214S and a Gazelle used to give us pretty easily timed combos mid-screen, the DP routes all require a micro dash if you want to pick up with a close slash to continue your combo. With this change, Sin's new BNBs have gotten a little more technical, but it's nothing too bad. Finally, DP follow-up got decreased recovery, so it's technically harder to punish, but you still shouldn't be doing this on block unless you want to lose. Supers. Sin's supers actually didn't receive any changes to their properties, outside of requiring stamina to Kara cancel now, but they did get some insane damage buffs. RTL's final hit got increased minimum guaranteed damage, meaning it'll do more damage when scaled after a long combo, but it's still best to save this technique for when it will absolutely kill since it drains all of your tension, especially since we run out of stamina so fast that we'll need the meter. Tyrant Barrel, on the other hand, got a borderline psychotic damage buff, with the clean hit now erasing life bars even after being scaled by combos. Seriously, I don't know whose idea this was, but I guess we take those. It's now more important than ever to learn the clean hit timing, since the reward is absolutely insane. General strategy. So, how does this change how Sin plays? Unfortunately, in my opinion, these changes make him a lot more punishing to pilot and a lot less beginner friendly. The forced micro dashes on his new BNBs may frustrate players who keep getting far slash after DP, and those who aren't so used to proper resource management will find themselves running out of stamina constantly. However, there are always workarounds. In Season 3, Sin players mainly use their stamina meter to supplement their use of the tension bar. What I mean by this is that Sin's follow-up attacks and Gazelle Step fixed a lot of the holes left in his game plan when he didn't have any tension, such as extending pressure and confirming into combos. Now, Sin players are starting to use his tension to supplement his stamina. Since the stamina resource regen is so drastically slower than before, Sin is now allowed, or forced to, depending on how you look at it, spend tension instead of stamina to accomplish a lot of the same goals. For example, here's a combo that can either be done with 1 bar of stamina and a Roman cancel, or 2 bars of stamina to achieve the same result. Unfortunately, this damage meter economy does mean that Sin is going to have far fewer opportunities to make dynamic decisions with his tension while on offense, since his overwhelming guard crush options will do the blunt of his block strings for him. I've been seeing a lot of the player base discovering how fast Roman cancel routes can be used instead of the standard stamina routes, since they're also expensive now, but again, this is another barrier of entry for new players or people who just picked up the character in Season 3. The resource situation is going to be a big part of his play from now on, and we just have to get used to it. For general neutral strategy, the nerfs to Far Slash, 2S, and 6P definitely hurt Sin's ability to safely swing from a distance and buffer Wild Assault or Beak Driver, but they still serve that purpose. You're going to have to be a lot more careful with these moves now, since Far Slash and 6P are easier to punish, and 2S isn't as fast as it was before. These changes ultimately mean that Sin is going to struggle more at mid-screen, where he used to dominate with solid range and speed, but he'll excel more on offense and in the corner. Combos, to get you started, here are some simple extended routes and BNBs you might find yourself using this season. Hit the lab and figure out what works for you. I wanted to give a quick spiel about my general feelings on Sin's rework. While everything sounds like it should work on paper, in practice, I'm not exactly the biggest fan. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I spent the week after Season 4 dropped preparing for my first ever offline bracket, and I went Sin only since all the characters I play got reworked and I only had time to practice one. I played a lot of offline matches and some online to get ready, and found myself really not having fun with his new playstyle. While giving all of his follow-ups guard crush to extend his advantage state or make his pressure real makes sense, in my opinion it is not worth the trade-off of stamina recovering so slow. I'm well aware that many are happy with these changes and believe Sin is a objectively stronger character this patch, and while I agree with that take, I find him significantly less fun. The quick decisions I had to make on offense to overwhelm my opponent's mental stack have been replaced almost entirely by numbers and frame data, since everything he has is plus, and his solid neutral presence got shot in the foot by the Far Slash, 2S, and 6P nerfs. I found myself using situations I used to win a lot more often, and being forced to spend stamina when I don't want to, because otherwise I get nothing out of my combos. Also, making Kara cancels cost stamina was an incredibly annoying change that takes the reward away from learning character-specific tech. On top of all this, I feel kinda bad because I literally just uploaded a video on how beginners can get into Sin and Strive, and not only did they make the character harder to play, I think they made him a lot less interesting and a lot less fun. I'll continue to upload starter guides for combos and pressure like I promised on this channel, but I'm sad to say I don't think I'll be maining Sin this season. I'm going to give it a bit more time to learn new tech and keep entering tournaments, but I just don't know if I want to keep playing him now that his mechanics restrict creativity instead of enabling it. If you're also looking for characters that are easy to pick up and somewhat similar to Sin, Giovanna is a simple strike throw monster with high damage and incredibly slippery neutral, and Elfelt is an easily learned offense demon with simple access to high-low mix and solid mid-range buttons. Personally, I'm looking to shake things up with Mei, who I have some experience with, or Biken, who just looks cool. But don't let my opinion discourage you if you still find the character to fit you and your goals as a player. By all means, if you still love Sin Kiske, keep on eating glue. Don't let anyone stop you from playing who you want. Now, before the video is over, I just want to take a moment and thank everybody for the overwhelming support on the last video. I made that guide for a friend of mine and never expected it to reach anywhere near as far as it did, or for so many people to try out Sin as a result. At the time of recording, my beginner guide is just under 3,000 views, and for my first ever upload to this channel, and my first ever piece of Guilty Gear content, that is insane to me. So, despite all my gripes with the character, as I said, I'm still going to release the videos I promised to make, even if I did have them almost done at the end of Season 3, and I had to scrap them when I saw the patch notes. So one last time, thank you guys so much for watching. There will be more to come here. Have a good one.